So let's try to do some multiplication and division problems. But before we begin, let's try to do some simple estimates. So let's start out very simply. Let's try a number like maybe, let's say you want to estimate 7,180 divided by 6. What's the answer? Well, but this still seems like a very crude estimate. So let's start thinking of it in slightly different ways. So now we have, let's think of 1,000 as 10 hundreds. So if I think of 10 hundreds, I'm just going to write 10 hundreds and I multiply it by 6, I'm going to get 60 hundreds, which is exactly correct, right? This is what I get. So I'm going to put in, maybe I'll just put in 2 zeros for 60 hundreds. But now, given that I know 10 hundreds multiplied by 6 is 60 hundreds, now I can do a bit better. Maybe if I try 11 hundreds, I'm going to put in a 0 multiplied by 6, that's going to be 66 hundreds. And 12 hundreds multiplied by 6 will give me 72 hundreds. And please note that 72 hundreds right over here is very close to 7,180. So a reasonable estimate for my calculation would be that this is approximately equal to 12 hundreds, and that's what my conjecture would be for this computation. Now we can do this computation exactly too. Let's do right over here. We can just do it on the same page. Let's do 7,180 and let's divide it by 6. So please note I have 7,000, so I can certainly give 1,000 to each child. I'm going to have distributed 6,000, which means I'll be left with 1,000 that I'm going to interpret as 10 hundreds. So I also have 100 over here, so that means I have 11 hundreds. I can give 100 to each child. I would have given 600s, and I'm going to be left with 500s. But the 500s I can interpret as 50 tens, and I have 8 tens over here, so I'm going to be left with 58 tens, and I can give 9 tens to each of the children, and that will, I would have given away 54 tens. And now when I subtract this off, I'm going to be left with 4 tens, and the 4 tens I can interpret as 40, and clearly for the 40 I can give the 4 tens can be interpreted as 41s, and the 41s I can give away 6 to each child, and I would have given away 36 ones, and I would still be left with 4 ones right at the end. So this, I would be left with 4 ones. So the answer is I can exactly give out, if I do an exact calculation, the exact calculation is when I divide 7,180 divided by 4, I get an, by 6, sorry, by 6. What I get is the answer is equal to 1,196, and there is a remainder of 4. So you can see that my estimate, which was 1200, is not bad when I calculate the exact answer to be 1,196. The problem is that the number of cars is 4 times the number of motorcycles in a town. So the number of cars is going to be 4 times as much. So if this is the number of motorbikes, well, the number of cars, so let's make the motorbikes a bit smaller. So if the number of motorbikes is this much, then the number of cars is going to be 4 times as much. So this is going to be 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. These are the number of cars, and these are the number of motorbikes. Okay, now we know that the number of cars is equal to 4,356. So the total number is 4,356. So we want to figure out what's in each square, in each rectangle. There are, well, 4 rectangles, and 4 rectangles contain 4,356. So what we are going to do is we're going to divide 4,356 by 4 so that we can get the amount of cars in a rectangle, and I'll do it quickly. 1 4s are 4. You subtract off, you get nothing. You get 300s. You can't give 300s, so you put a 0 here. Then you interpret the 300s as 30 tens, and you have another 10 over here, so you have 35 tens. Those you can certainly give out. You have 8 fours are 32, and you're left with 3 tens that you interpret as 31s, and you have 6 ones, so you have 36 ones, and you do 9 fours are 36, and you have given away everything. Okay, so that means each one of these squares contains 1089, so this contains 1089 cars, but since the rectangles are the same size, which means the motorbikes are also 1089. Now if you want to find out the total number of motorbikes and cars, well, there are two ways to do it. Remember, we have 5 if you want to find out the total number of vehicles, including motorbikes and cars. Then there are 5 rectangles. Each rectangle contains 1089 vehicles. So the answer would be 1089 multiplied by 5, and we can do that. 9 5s are 45. So you have 5, and then I'm going to keep the 4 tens over here. Then 8 tens times 5s are 40 tens, and I have 44 tens now. So these are 44 tens, 4 tens, and the 40 tens will get converted into 400s, but I have no hundreds here. 0 hundreds times 5 is 0 hundreds. So then the 400s come in over here, and then I have 1000, and the 1000 times 5 is 5000. So the total answer would turn out to be 5445.